Hey everyone, Haley here from The Foiled Plan. Today I'm going to show you how I spruced up some of my decorative candles by adding adhesive vinyl to them. As a disclaimer before we get into the tutorial, I should mention that these candles are for decorative purposes only. I never actually light them. If you plan to light your candles, make sure you're not putting any sort of vinyl on them. If you like the lit candle effect, you can purchase those battery-powered candles and slap a decal on there. Alright, enough of my rambling, let's get into the tutorial. Alright, so today I'm going to be using my candles, my masking transfer tape, and the adhesive vinyl pack Hakuna Matata. Those are both from shopantite.com. You can use my code TheFoiledPlan for 10% off. I'm also using Cricut Design Space on my Windows laptop, which is connected to my Cricut Explore Air 2 via USB connection. So I open up Design Space and I upload the SVGs from Auntie Tay. They're from her family file, and I ended up duplicating the little leafy guy so that I could have one on the opposite side of the family is everything wording, because I had 3 candles and I wanted a design on each one of them. Now I had them separated by color on the screen, so the Cricut Design program automatically separates into different mats depending on which colors you're using. So first it cut the letters out for the family is everything, and it was in this beautiful cinnamon glittery color. And then the little leafy guys, they ended up on this metallic, shiny sort of coppery color. And as always, when I am removing my adhesive vinyl from the standard grip cutting mat, I always make sure to flip the mat over and I pull the mat away from the vinyl. That way I'm not bending or putting any bubbles into the vinyl. If you're wondering what that little tool was that I was using to attach the vinyl to the Cricut standard grip mat, that is a Fiskars brayer. You can get a brayer from lots of different companies. Cricut even has their own. This one is also on my Amazon shop if you're looking for the exact one I have. It's just a nice way to make sure the vinyl is securely attached to the mat. Then I just cut around each individual piece and I weed the design so that I continue to save the rest of the vinyl for another project later on, because if you just start pulling up the vinyl, you're going to ruin the rest of that sheet, and there's still lots there and I am not about to waste it. So it's challenging to weed small letters, but if you have everything on the correct setting for your cuts, it usually makes things a lot easier. So when you're using the glitter one, make sure you have the glitter vinyl selected. Now, the reason that I'm using masking transfer tape for this rather than a strong grip transfer tape is because I know it's going to be a little bit tricky to get the vinyl to initially stick to the candles because it's a waxy surface. So I'm just using the masking transfer tape so that it's not going to necessarily pull the design back up with it when I go to remove the transfer tape. Then I'm just trimming down the transfer tape with the designs attached with my Fiskars paper trimmer. That thing is a lifesaver. I highly recommend getting one if you don't have one. Then I use my Cricut scraper and just make sure that the design is stuck to the transfer tape before I peel the backing off. And now I'm ready to apply the decal to the candle. This is a little bit tricky of a process. In order for it not to move, I kind of put it back in the little tray that it came in, and I always like to start in the center and then use my fingers or my thumb to slowly push out the rest of the design to stick it down, and then just very carefully peel off the masking transfer tape. Because the two designs on the end are exactly the same, I just sort of line them up side by side to make sure I'm placing the second decal as close to the first one as possible. Now it's a little bit trickier with the wording just because there's a lot more little teeny pieces, so just make sure you go nice and slow, take your time, and you shouldn't have a problem. And as I mentioned before, I just start in the center, use my finger to attach it, and then use my finger or thumb to work my way to the outside. I always do this when I'm working on a rounded surface. Then I very carefully peel back the masking transfer tape, and there will likely be times where you'll have to stop or slow down just to make sure that the vinyl is sticking to the candle. You may have to get your fingers in there and hold it down. Now, if you're wondering how this type of project holds up over time, I actually did this exact project back in April, and the candles are still sitting in my kitchen in the exact same spot, and they look absolutely untouched. Nothing has moved, no vinyl has started to peel, absolutely nothing. So it holds up great. I feel like I may get the question of where I got my candle decoration, and unfortunately I have no idea because it was given to Brady and I as a gift when we first moved into our apartment together, and that was like 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 I think, because we've been in our house for like 3 years now, and I have no idea. But I know they usually typically have things like this around the holiday season. They're nice little gifts, so maybe try like a Walmart or Canadian Tire, something like that, and you might be able to find it. If you enjoyed this tutorial on how to apply adhesive vinyl to a wax candle, I would be ever so grateful if you would hit that like button and maybe subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. You can find me on all of my socials listed below or over at thefoiledplan.com, and that's all I'm gonna say. Bye!